Hello fellow foreigners, it's Emily and it's Peter, and we are not here discovering China, we are living it. You know what we got going on today though? We're at almost 400 subscribers.
By the time you see this.
I certainly hope so. And I think this might be our 400th video. So you know what that means.
What resonance?
Yeah, you know what that means?
What?
We have 2 things that go to 400.
That's 800.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any other things that go to 400.
I don't know. My graduating class in high school, I don't think was 400.
Yeah, it was like 350 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But 400 is a pretty good number for us. Pretty excited.
It's okay.
I mean, it better be 400 by the time this goes up, by the time you're watching this.
Yeah. If not, subscribe.
I'll burn this whole goddamn studio down.
You know what I really like about living in a city?
No.
That you can like walk around being weird all the time.
Any city, I guess, like New York,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
wear a
And other
catsuit out,
people,
but here,
other people
though,
do the same. I mean, that's why you can. Because I'll share this story. When I first moved to the Upper East Side in New York, where I lived for about 10 years, one of my very first nights there, I was eating outside, I guess, and then this man came jogging by in full-on lingerie and high heels. And like the high heels was the super impressive part.
because jogging.
Yeah, he was doing well. He was doing well. And then I found out later that he was one of Howard Stern's Funky Bunch or whatever.
Okay.
Which I don't know how that applied. He was called Jogger Man. I think you can look that up even.
Pretty original.
I don't know how that his thing translated to radio, given that he ran in lingerie.
Wasn't he on TV though?
Howard Stern?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's how it worked.
He had a TV show.
That's an answer. But for
All
me,
these years.
for
You've
me,
been killing you.
For me, the other day, so I do my exercises out in our courtyard here. It's not really a courtyard, but the area that's
Beautiful nonetheless.
the apartment complex, because they have a chin-up bar, and I've been working on my chin-ups. But I'm at the stage where like you do the isometric hold, so I have to bring a little stool outside with me. But it just is like walking around sweaty in exercise clothes and carrying a little plastic stool. Nobody looked twice, and one lady was like, "Oh, you're exercising, good for you." And like I like to think her unspoken thought was, "And you brought your own stool."
You've got to have your own stool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kids probably are like watching it, going like, she brought a toy. They love to push them around.
Well, they do, because it's like, you know, a monkeying around on monkey bars, so they try to show off like what they can do, and they can't do pull-ups either, so there. But the like one
Stupid little arms.
they can hang upside down, or like the one girl like on the parallel bars made it into a kind of hammock with her body. Yeah. So that part, yeah, we're all out there being weird.
Being weird. And you know, if you want to be weird with us, you got to subscribe. You got to hit the like button, because that's what gets us out, gets our algorithm, gets our weirdness out into the world, man. We're so strange. And we want to share that with everybody. Tell people.
And we live or die based on your approval.
Yeah, I mean, everything, when we see just a little tick, a like button, that's it, making another video. We see another subscriber, that's 2 videos.
Yeah.
You can't stop us. Emily's going back to work. This is your first,
My
second?
second day of it's teachers only right now, prepping the classrooms. But yeah, I went in for 2 days. It's weird to go back to work because, you know, I was flipping through my school planner just before now, and I was telling my boss something, but I was like flipping to the date, and I was like, March. There was no March this year, was there?
The year that there was no March.
Like. But yeah, so it's weird, but it's the same.
And that for those of you that are back home in Westworld,
Yeah.
not shooting each other, I hope, yet. There's hope. People go back to work.
Yeah,
Some people,
yeah.
not all the people. I guess a lot of people lost their jobs.
Yeah, yeah. Way to be hopeful.
You're welcome.
No, but school specifically, I think in the West this probably won't come back till fall. We're gonna teach through to the fall. We're gonna have 10 days off for summer break, which is, what are you gonna do?
But at least you don't have like your summer classes, your whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Your
We
hell.
usually do a summer camp, which is like super hard on me. I think the kids love it, but I don't love it. So this year instead we're just teaching regular classes at that time. So I actually prefer that, to be honest.
So things are
I
going...
like just regular school. Don't make me do camp stuff.
Relatively, things are going great for the...
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah, for the year that there was no May.
Yeah. No, there's May.
Or
it's now. May is now.
What was the month that we lost?
March.
March.
Yeah. There's no March, but there's
I know it was one of them
an abundance
M's.
of May.
The Ides of March.
Do you want to play a game?
No.
Okay.
I want you to subscribe.
Oh.
Now I want to play a game.
So yeah, you all people talk weird. Let's make some fun of it.
Oh my God.
All right. You ready for our first sentence?
Yeah, make it weird.
Okay. 法国不大也不小，你看，这是中国地图 which is France is not big and not small. Look, here is a map of China.
Ah, well, always bringing it back to China, are we?
Yeah.
Textbooks.
Yeah. Which is France's size is not big or not small compared to what? France is big compared to Andorra, which is one of its neighbors.
Is it big compared to itself by making that it's
I guess
big?
that's compared to itself. Nothing is big or small.
It is relative to.
I mean,
its
so
owner.
that's a confusing place to start. Here's where I picture the sentence occurring. It's a maniac, of course, like all of these sentences are, in a old cartography shop. So they're like it's a nutty professor type person, like, France, it's not big, it's not small. Look, here is a map of China. Italy looks like a boot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Here's a bag of flutes.
Yeah, the Mercator protection. That's kind of who I think needs that sentence.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that guy then.
Because actually, I love nerds who get in-depth passionate about one thing, and if your one thing is maps are actually, I'll admit it, pretty fascinating.
I mean,
take away from that about me what you will.
Drop the mic, walk away with that kind of information. I guess that's why like so many nerds love Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs.
And trains are a big like
trains.
stereotypical.
Yeah. That's the
thing.
graduated nerd.
Yeah.
Adult nerd.
The I'm gonna nerd on that nerd as in the graduated nerd. Do you know what a graduated cylinder is?
No.
It's like marked at a specific.
So
that's the graduations. The graduated nerd is marked precisely 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1
up
ounce.
to trains.
Yeah, up to trains.
Once you've reached train, that's either the ultimate nerd, or I mean, if that's a grown nerd, is that better or worse? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
As a human being.
Know. And on the scale, where does maps fall?
Because a lot of RPGs and movies of like, your fantasy level stuff have a great train scene, a great train robbery.
And a great map.
And a great map, right.
I always love
it's
the
world
books
building,
that
right?
open with the map of the world.
It's world building.
It is literal world building.
That's kind of the funnest thing. That's the only part about Dungeons and Dragons I could ever get into is I would build a world, build up my character, put some armor on it, put a house over there, give me a lamb, and then I'm like, let's go, and then everyone starts playing, and I'm like, I gotta go. This sucks.
Well, so the sentence is not for you.
Yeah.
But like the idea of now I want to go to a cartography shop. Is that actually a thing?
There's got to be.
I mean, there's got to be like antique map seller or something.
We had a hard time finding maps here when we first moved here.
Yeah, we made up the idea that Chinese people just don't care for maps.
I think it's funny because you find like one little sentence somewhere in a book somewhere that says that like, well, up until recently, Chinese never used maps. I'm like,
yeah, we found that sentence, and then like we went on a walk with someone and got her lost, and we were like 2 blocks from her own neighborhood. So we were like, well, it must just be that Chinese culture has not put emphasis on maps.
Right. I mean, that's...
When I think in general, people are very bad at directions.
Right. That's just a perfect example of how you like just lay out
you come
flat
with
like
these
that.
generalizations that are just like ridiculous.
Chinese are basically fish. I mean, because they eat a lot. They're always down by the river, so I mean they must have gills.
When it comes right down to it, the French don't have feet.
Yeah, right. That's why they're frogs. They're tadpoles. It grows.
That's why we call them frogs.
This all makes so anyway. Back to comparatively. the two Frances, the big and the small.
Yeah, the not big and not small.
Okay, and then there's China.
Yeah.
So that
So this is a world in which there's only France and only China.
It is the Middle Kingdom. So I mean, anything else is sort of.
So you
just
need something
satellite.
on the other side of it, though. I guess not big France is on one side and not small France is on the other side, because it's a globe.
Well, I guess like the Chinese maps were always focused on the city. You had your square character there, right? The city, and then because it's the walls that are.
Oh, the character of
right, and all
map is the city walls, and then something
and all the
inside of
cities
it, yeah.
would that's how you would notate where, because it was based on the wall, and then that being the center, the city is your center, then China is the center of the world. So everything else past that, like little old France, it was just all.
France doesn't even get to have a size.
Yeah, we're not even giving them that. Oh man, that's just like like Canada's a hat or something like to America.
Yeah.
These are other areas.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is perfectly fine. I mean, as long as you don't go outside of your little wall, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, I've been to France. It did appear to have a size, but I guess I couldn't describe it as big or small.
Did you feel bigger or smaller when you were there? You probably feel bigger here in China than you did in France.
Relative.
Really,
yes.
yes.
I feel both taller and broader in China, and in France, compared to the women, I would say I felt fatter.
I guess the French are definitely
they were very thin,
rail.
Especially in Paris, where the models.
The times I've been in Brazil, I just kind of pretended that I was a Canadian wrestler. I figured that was the safest thing to not get kidnapped or.
Brazilians were smaller than you.
Very small, very dark, and I'm just a big white guy. So, and you don't want to be an American, because who likes Americans?
I'm afraid of Americans.
But, yeah, so that was my safety thing. What else do we have?
We have 我要卖2辆很旧的摩托车, which means I want to sell 2 very old motorbikes. To which the next sentence in the dialogue should be, good luck.
But because you can't actually ride motorbikes around China?
No, why? What do you think you're gonna sell a very old motor? The seller's description is I have 2 very old motorbikes here. 10 kuai. Like, what do you think you're gonna get for that?
And on the market of all the antique coffee houses that are not antique coffee house, but like they buy all like the old scooter. Our friend
like
that just
vintagey
has,
stuff.
Yeah.
But very old is different from antique, I would say.
It? I mean, a lot of those places are like Pottery Barns. Like you buy a fake book that you
I
take
guess
out.
That's true. Maybe to get snobby about taste. Maybe very old can qualify in your cafe as an antique. I guess the antiqueness comes from the care that you put into taking care of it. So one person's very old motorbike could be an antique motorbike.
I mean, a lot of these action figures themselves are like 15, 18 years old or something like that. I feel like I bought them yesterday because I'm old. But
is there an antiques market for action figures?
Oh my god! You want to talk nerd levels?
Is 18 years old enough to be an antique?
Ask an 18-year-old, because when they talk about like their parents, like when I was born, and
I wouldn't ask an 18-year-old anything.
They don't know anything. But
I wouldn't ask them for like financial collection advice.
How much do you think he's going to the market?
I don't know, I just got here, I'm 18.
I drive an antique Prius from 2005.
Okay, so 2 motorcycles, old.
Yeah.
You don't think that you're gonna get a lot for them.
I mean, that's my thought, is like selling for parts. And then the sentence you would need to know is, how do I sell these 2 old motorbikes for parts? Because they're not just old, they're very old.
All right, well, here's the thing. I'm gonna stop our speculations right now, because I know in the China vlogger universe, everyone watches Serpents on Laowai, and they're all about their 2 motorcycles. So there's probably a bunch of people watching that have all kinds of information as to what you could do with bits pieces, what kind of family might want a motorcycle, or I don't even know. I mean, I so know little about a motorcycle that like I'm thinking like those little peds.
Yeah, I guess is motorbike a motorcycle or is motorbike an e-bike? Because the e-bike market, the e-bike secondhand market, I think is, your bike has to be like pretty close to new.
Right.
So it has to have a good battery at least to get
those
any
things,
money.
Like, they dent and crack and fall off.
Yeah, they're
and
made of
everything.
like candy floss.
Yeah, delicious.
Because
Drive.
we did have an e-bike that we sold, and the way I sold it was I suspected that I might have told this on the podcast.
I don't know, but
But
real quick.
I suspected that our neighbors, just because they seemed like to have a lot of business going on, I suspected our neighbors would buy the motorbike. So I just like within our housing complex, I just put I taped a sign to the bike that said "For sale, this apartment," and like within the hour, someone from next door knocked and was like, "We got a guy who wants a motorbike. How much?"
Did they want to haggle? Any
They
face for
did.
that?
They talked me down because they tested the battery and like there wasn't a good battery. So I was like, "Well, I gotta sell it anyway."
So
and
you're
I
a
don't.
little jaded. You know that people are going to try and talk you out of
Yeah,
your
I
$10
guess-
2-bike deal.
Well, and I mean, it was fair because it was a dead battery, and like the shell of the motorbike isn't worth that much.
That's also a problem both of us have, is that it's a fair deal. Like, I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, I'm a terrible
Yeah,
negotiator. So
really.
part of it is like, I will take less money to get this over with sooner.
Yeah. That's always.
Which I realize is not everybody's preferred strategy.
Right. I mean, there's whole worlds out there that are like not like just motorbikes, but like, what kind of amazing deal can I
But
make?
from what I know from sales is, do not describe your merchandise as very old. That's where it would matter. I have 2 antique motorbikes. I have 2 vintage motorbikes.
Yeah.
I have 2 lovingly worn motorbikes. I have a cozy 1-bedroom
Do you
apartment.
have the Chinese word for antique?
No, I do not. That would have been helpful. My vocabulary is good, but not that good. I mean, Chinese is so straightforward in some ways that very old might also mean antique. So the Chinese speakers help us out.
Yeah. What's a good word for antique?
Is
An
there a
old thing
word that
you
means
would-
old but is like a status?
Yeah,
of
that would
old
like really draw you
versus
into
like old and beat down.
Yeah, that's a perk to the deal. It's
Yeah,
antique.
yeah.
Oh, really? Can I offer you more
Well,
money?
that's the thing, is you need to use the language of sales,
Yeah.
not the language of truth.
Yeah, it's the same thing with art. You have
Yeah.
to like tell somebody that like it's a $5,000 piece, and they're like,
Yeah.
really? I wouldn't buy it. I mean, if you told me it was 10,000, I would. Oh, it's 11 then.
Yeah, my kid could draw that. Well, this is $1 million piece of art.
Oh.
Your kid couldn't draw it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we're not going to solve it because we don't know anything about motorcycles or haggling. But
Yeah.
I do think that we can come to some kind of agreement that you should keep us out of the market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to sell 2 very old motorbikes is a different sentence than I have sold 2 very old motorbikes.
Yeah.
But let's
Right.
hear the next one.
Okay.
它的小金鱼真漂亮. You know one of those words, right?
No.
Oh. His little goldfish.
Oh, little. I know little.
Oh, that's not the one I thought you
Uh-huh.
knew. His little goldfish is really beautiful. I thought you knew 漂亮.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But
That's one of those words that everyone.
I
like,
know 漂亮 because people keep
Yeah.
telling me I'm it.
It's one of those words that everyone says all the time that I just kind of like block out. Be like, I mean, first of all, it's weird to call me beautiful. I know.
Well, they call you 瘦, which is handsome. Or 帅, 帅.
They throw around beautiful
throw
all the
around-
time.
yeah, you
that
just-
it's just kind of like it's really awkward to be like.
It bounces off. But his small goldfish is really beautiful.
Yeah. Say this. Yeah. Give me the whole. Not in Chinese. In
His little goldfish is really beautiful. That's a fish expert, I would think, an ichthyologist, to differentiate between a beautiful goldfish and a really beautiful goldfish, to say nothing of versus an ugly goldfish. What does an ugly goldfish look like?
We could start with a little one. Like, I mean, I guess you could call a baby. It's a beautiful baby, but like.
Fish babies aren't beautiful. They're ridiculous.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, not only is it small, like you would go with cute if it was anything, just from
Yeah,
from
and
size
again, there's not a lot in the world of cute fish. I
If
think
there is,
there's that
that
one
would-
that makes a face.
Oh yeah, it's got
That everyone's like, this is the cutest fish.
If it was cute, then it would have to be like, I mean, some fish have big eyes, but they never like have those.
But they're not on the same side of their head, so it's still uncanny rather than cute.
Yeah.
One big eye is never cute.
But if they had eyelashes, like one big eye with an eyelash, that might be a small fish.
I'm getting
A small fish with one big eye on the side and a giant eyelash.
I don't
They
like
can like
it.
swim with the eyelash. That's how cute it is.
Yeah, I don't think that cute is the word for that.
But an ichthyologist would find it very interesting.
I guess, yeah, that's the thing is if you find beauty.
And also any other human that's...
Well, who finds beauty in fish? I am actually curious about that. I do not, but as we know, I'm biased against pets
All fish.
as well as everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're anyone that's into fish now.
Yeah,
They're
we
out
just talked about our schedule for the rest of the term at school, and we're gonna do frog races, which like I just could not accept the reality. Like if I say frog races, what do you picture?
You do that.
Yeah, I could not accept the reality, especially that kindergarten children would have real frogs that they would be encouraging to race. But that's what we're doing. I thought we would do like a leapfrog style game as a race. I just like I couldn't get it in my head. But my teacher, my manager was like, "No, we're gonna get some frogs and they're gonna race."
But we have lots of frogs. Is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we live on a peninsula. There's nothing but frogs. There's frogs like in our little stream.
But my internal reaction was, "Oh God, I'm not touching them." So we'll see what happens on that day.
I mean, it's just gross to touch a frog. So.
And I don't want to touch anything. That's my again. I got some problems.
You could call COVID on it.
Yeah,
You could
I don't know if
it's
frogs have COVID.
You could make up your own.
They have COVID, so you touch them. I'm not going to touch them. But and then
as an educator,
yeah.
I don't really want to open myself up to the possibilities of contaminating myself with frog COVID.
Yeah.
That seems plausible in today's
But
world.
and
to
then
say.
we're going to release them into the wild after.
So the kids can't smush them.
Yeah, well, I'm very concerned with that. I will be on no smushing duty, but I'm not going to touch them.
Especially after they're smushed.
Yeah, because oh God.
Clean up on Frog Isle 1. All right. Do we have anything about frogs? Because I can't.
No, I guess that we're on goldfish, but reptiles and fish are both not mammals. I guess is my mammalian centric view.
I mean, I guess the real thing was who is this person with the beautiful little fish?
Yeah.
I mean, once again, it's always easy to go back to some kind of exoticized, like it's an old man who's got like a koi pond. Maybe
I
like
guess koi are kind of beautiful. Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, I don't know what you do, sitting on one of those docks with a stick going like, these are beautiful little fish.
The old man is just banging a stick around.
Look at that beautiful
fish.
Look at that fucking little fish. Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll allow that fish maybe can be beautiful. Not many though.
To other fish.
I'm very lookist. Maybe it is another fish commenting.
That's kind of sweet.
His fish is very beautiful. And so this is at like a fish owners convention, and they've all brought their fish in bowls, and the two fish. Look at his fish is so beautiful.
Or it could be the fish themselves, and you like one like it's a fish like baby shower, and so the new baby fish is born, and one fish is like, that's a beautiful fish.
Okay, yeah, because babies are always beautiful to their
they
their
have to be,
own
or else you'd
kind.
eat them.
Some species do eat their babies though.
That's why you have to have cute
so
eyes.
They're not going to eat the beautiful one. Okay, that makes sense.
One big eye.
That makes the most sense. Okay. 这个闹钟太响 which is this alarm clock. Let me try that again. This alarm clock is too loud.
I mean, that's a problem that hopefully, I mean, you didn't just buy a shitty alarm clock and it's got a volume knob on it. So,
Well,
I mean,
I guess I can.
what kind of person is just whining about that?
As a person who doesn't like to get out of bed, I mean,
welcome to the human race.
Yeah, everybody hates alarm clocks. I need a loud one, or I will, it will just invade my dreams and I won't wake up. So I don't know. I guess from a neighbor's perspective, it could be too loud, but as a sleeper yourself, I don't know that too loud would be a problem for me. But
yeah, I mean, I guess you'd think that a person is just a complainer that's too loud. It's that classic movie thing of taking the alarm clock and throwing it on the ground and
well, I mean,
doesn't that person seem like such a rebel?
I see it as a comparison shopping type thing of well, this alarm clock is too loud, but this alarm clock is not pretty. Or whatever.
Yeah, if you're telling the clerk that, the clerk's this is a great alarm clock, and you're just well, but it's too loud.
Yeah. The alarm clock I still have, we bought at CVS before we left because it was small.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I
one
myself
barely works at all.
am not so choosy. Well, that one has some weird functionality that we haven't cracked.
And it's awfully quiet.
So I can't imagine comparison shopping for an alarm clock, but there are people who are particular out there. And I respect that you would be picky about the alarm clock you bring into your home.
I mean, some people need the soft alarm, and some people need the loud alarm, and some people need a ringing bell because they're 80 years old.
And with Goldilocks type comparisons on our mind, given that France is neither too big nor too small, this smacks of this alarm clock is too loud, this alarm clock is too quiet, this alarm clock is just right. But I would like to explore
this fish is too beautiful.
Yeah, the non-sleeper's perspective. Who would say this alarm clock is too loud? I like the idea of your neighbor banging on the wall in the morning. Your alarm clock is too loud! Or if you have a companion sleep over.
Yeah.
Your alarm clock is too loud.
Our alarm clock.
Get a new one or I'm not staying over next time.
In many of our apartments here in China, our alarm clock is somebody cutting vegetables in the morning.
Yeah. Our alarm clock is too weird. All right, you ready for the last one? It's a doozy.
Oh my God.
So brace yourself. Okay. 可我发现咱们一点儿现金都没有了，去馋的话还得走出咱们小区，我嫌太远了。
Jesus, that's supposed to be a phrase, not a book.
Well, I like the story this tells, so I didn't.
Back. Relax.
But I discovered that we are out of cash. Going to get some more, I'd have to leave our housing complex, and I hate going far. This sentence, I feel like, was written for us.
Yeah.
We have had many, many transactions or ideas that are well, we could do that, but we'd have to leave the house to do that.
I mean, in this day and age, it makes perfect sense with the COVIDs.
Yeah. But we were living that quarantine life even before it was necessary.
Welcome to the quarantine life with the COVIDs.
It is annoying to go to the ATM.
Yeah.
I mean, this sentence does ignore the fact that he should just use WePay.
It's been so, yeah, I mean, there's today's, what are you doing to go to ATMs?
Yeah.
Is this an old, but it's been so long since I've lived in a neighborhood that, I mean, it makes sense in New York that you're going somewhere, anywhere I guess you don't have a car. If you have a car and you can drive through the drive-through and just pick up your ATM money.
Well, the M is for machine, so yeah. You can say money.
I had to stop myself there for a second. What is the M?
Yeah.
But that extra step of having to go out is irritating.
Yeah, because especially in China, the way apartment complexes are set up, sometimes there are little shops within. So you could go buy some milk, you could go buy some treats, you could go buy something without actually even leaving your apartment complex. But I don't know that you'd ever have a bank machine on campus.
I guess it depends on how big it is. I mean, a lot of these apartment campus complexes are pretty darn huge.
I mean, maybe if you were like on a Damway in the middle of the countryside, that like it's your factory and your dorms, and there's probably a bank
There has to be that one. And you went completely the opposite, because I was like thinking like if you're in Shanghai in one of those like global centers, your apartment is like 5 high-rises with like a whiskey bar and 5 McDonald's and 3 gyms and stuff like that. So
maybe you'd have a bank. So then you'd have no excuse. Go get money and then go get me some chocolates.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what living in the city of China is. So I mean, but I don't even remember barely in New York. So if I have to go back to like, I don't know, my young adulthood to be like, driving around Western Massachusetts finding money, sounds like caveman talk.
Yeah. But I mean, any excuse to not go outside is and to just say, I hate going far. Yeah,
guess-
okay. I don't need whatever I was asking you to go buy.
I guess that's with ordering online for your Blue Aprons, and if you want a Blue Apron us anytime that
Yeah, if Blue Apron wants to sponsor us, we do a good job.
then
Does Blue Apron still exist?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't know. It's
Good
hard.
job. Good
Yeah.
job.
But and all the I mean, we wouldn't have to actually go out if we didn't want to. We can get all of our vegetables. We can get
We can get
international
almost
stuff from-
anything delivered to our door,
pretty much.
or at least to the complex door.
So it's solved.
Yeah. So
This is not only the sentence for us. This is the
This is
right
the lifestyle
This is the
for
year
us.
for us. 2020. This is
Yeah.
when we really come into
2020 hashtag stay inside. Yes.
Hello, Uncle Foreigner. Win, 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 win. Anything else?
That's all. So except for some noodles to you.